Welcome to Lantern's Insight, where we take Magic the Gathering's long lore, break it down, and dramatically retell it back to you. All characters and art are owned by Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, and Hasbro. If you want to learn more about Magic the Gathering, the game, please visit the links down below. A werewolf who can change her form at will? Now this makes for one dangerous predator. Who is Arlinn Kord? We don't know much about this strong-willed woman, but we do know enough about Innistrad's history and her backstory to connect the dots, like a mind mage detective in a leather coat. What we do know about Arlinn's early history is that she had her first werewolf transformation as a teenager by the Moderator wolf pack. Now there's something special about the Werewolf Curse you'll need to know, and using this we can pretty much figure out exactly what happened to her. Unknown to most people, becoming a werewolf has nothing to do with bites or scratches from other wolves or werewolves. It actually is a ritual that infuses you with Innistrad's wild mana and splits your soul into two joint ones, the normal human that you were and a wilder, beastly version of yourself. Arlinn wasn't a werewolf when she was first drawn to the call, but it does mean that for whatever reason, she allowed herself to be opened up to the spirits of the woods. This is exactly what happened to Arlinn. And when she was surrounded by the Moderator Howl Pact, she was attacked by wild magic. Inside herself, a battle raged. Her beast form attacked her human form, and either her human form was too weak and lost, or, more likely, her human form liked this new self, even for just a split second, and suddenly, the change was complete. Arlinn was now a silver-tipped werewolf. Now, it's unlikely she killed a human during her first hunt, since Arlinn still, to this day, detests killing humans, so she most likely hunted animals with her new family. And the next morning, she woke up naked, covered in dirt and blood, and she ran home ashamed of herself, and in all likelihood, mostly ashamed of the fact that she enjoyed this newfound freedom. So she turned into what's called a repentant on Innistrad. That's someone who usually in secret uses prayer and Avacynnian magic to keep the transformations at bay. This is possible because the werewolf inside Arlinn is a curse, but it's impossible to cure this, since the beast fighting for control isn't like a Geist possession, it's another part of her. But she was able to stave off this transformation for years, even going so far as to train in the Slayer's stronghold, becoming an archmage of Golden Light under Mtgsalvation's angelic gaze. But one day her wards failed, and Arlinn flipped back into her werewolf form, killing many people. Since Arlinn's human form is basically just a passenger to the wolves' control, the shock of watching her co-workers and friends die by her own hands and claws shocked the woman into igniting her spark, and she disappeared as suddenly as she transformed, gone to terrorize another unknown plane. But the ignition of her spark did more than just send her somewhere else, it made her completely different than her woven brethren. It fused her split soul back together. She woke up a werewolf, a feral beast vastly different than the soon-to-exist Wolfir, but inside that savage beast was her own mind, whole and calm, but slightly different. She wasn't afraid to be a werewolf anymore. In fact, she loved it. When she came back to Innistrad, she finally shifted back into her human form. And eventually, the transformation became easier until she could do it without any effort. Most werewolves undergo a painful transformation where their bones bend and break and their organs rapidly grow. Arlinn doesn't do this. She just sort of shifts into her wolf form and then shifts back out. No pain, no bending, no breaking. Like both sides of her flesh are natural and always meant to be there, but she just takes on the form that she desires the most at the time. Many years went by, and the curse mute would happen when Avacyn returned, which changed most of the werewolves into servants of Avacyn called Wolfir, and even cured a few completely. It isn't clear whether she was on Innistrad at the time of it, but based on Garruk's brief reprise from Liliana's curse, it's clear that it still would affect her. Regardless, she would reject this fix and view the curse mute as a genocide to her people. This is where we are with Arlinn now. She lurks in the woods, gathering werewolves that rejected the curse mute, and some new members, likely orphaned by other packs. And as their alpha, she nurtures their wild instincts, turning their prey drive to creatures that would harm humanity instead of humans themselves. It's clear when she saves a pair of Kessek hunters, Helena and Alena, she is preparing for some bigger evil that Innistrad doesn't know is there yet. Arlinn is a werewolf, so surprise surprise, her powers are exactly that. Enhanced speed, instinct, sight, smell, reflex, and strength. Her body was made to be perfect for killing, which means aside from her claws and teeth, she also has huge lungs for stamina, and an ever-pumping adrenal gland for ignoring pain, as well as an efficient blood flow system, which means muscles work faster and likely heal faster. The werewolf's dumb rage is no longer there for her, as she retains complete control over her mind now, so the average weakness is gone. Blessed Silver and wards likely still can harm her, or at least can hinder her. You have to remember, unlike Theros' gods who are fueled by devotion, Innistrad's spells come from a very real source, Avacyn, and their prayers and spells are just an extension of her magic. So faith in the angel should still hurt her, since a lightning bolt tossed at her by a Cathar is basically a lightning bolt tossed by an angel. It's still lightning. Silver actually isn't bad for werewolves by itself. It's this plane's version of a magical sponge, so depending on what power it's storing, it can still burn her. Now Arlinn has a few extra tricks up her sleeve too. She was transformed by the Mondron and Halbacht, who are known for their blood magic. These werewolves are more than just dumb hunting brutes, their attacks are magically charged, and their human forms are usually mages. It's also clear there's a tie to black magic here, but Arlinn has never shown this ability. But keep it in the back of your mind, because she could maybe do some pretty evil stuff in the future, who knows? Here's the lesser known part of the power that she has. While her card is green and red, it is clear that she is in fact Naya aligned, meaning she can use white magic as well. Her training as a Gold Light Archmage supports this. Speaking of her card, let's see how the flavor connects. Her human +1 gives a creature haste, vigilance, and 2/2. This is fully backed by her ability to nurture other werewolves. Basically letting your creatures you cast gain haste is giving them access to the Lycan form. The vigilance is a nod to the fact that yes, she could in fact have green-white in her. Her 0 ability transforms her, likely just a way to show that she isn't a normal werewolf and can control her transformations at will. But the wolf is a nice touch, since we see from the flavor text of the Halpak wolf, wolves and werewolves join together for the common cause of the hunt. On her wolf form, we see that she gives a team 1/1 and trample. This is clear flavor of this is my pack and we will destroy you. It's perfect because she is an alpha of a pack. To most, her -1 lightning bolt seems like a flavor fail, but it's a complete flavor win when you realize she is a Mondoran and a mage very capable of some fire magic. It also transforms her back, a nod to the fact that her magic is more powerful when she's in human form, whereas her strength is more powerful when she's in wolf form. The last thing Arlinn does is allow creatures to deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player. This represents Arlinn's dream of having a wolf pack running free, crushing anyone that's foolish enough to try to hurt her people. After looking at her past and her abilities and its flavor, we can finally get a clear picture of who Arlinn is as a character. She's a reluctant leader. She has clear morals, at least defined by pact mentality, but she still refrains befriending anything that is human. Her strong will has nothing to do with the wolf and everything to do with her humanity. She doesn't mind killing those who threaten her pack. A very red-green Darwinism mindset, but she values group well-being as well, and the lives of innocents, showing that she has a clear-cut white qualities. But this is where we see she is scarred, and we can see into her character flaws that help make her real and relatable to the reader. Her spark ignited not when she first transformed, because that would mean that she found freedom and it caused her to become a planeswalker, but rather during her second transformation, when she killed people she trained with and grew up with. After all, slayers and church mages start their training at 15. So these people that she killed were childhood friends, and that's what caused it to ignite. Her card doesn't even show the white that she has, meaning she has that color locked away deep inside. She has a pack, but she doesn't view these people as friends by choice. After all, the last thing we hear her say in Under the Silver Moon is, in this life, Arlinn could not have friends. She is a rose. Thick thorns and brambles grow around a tender and beautiful blossom. She is scarred and hardened, more than willing to hurt those who come close. But her journey will hopefully focus in on her learning to let people in again, to becoming that Naya Planeswalker she was born to be. And hopefully we'll get to see that change. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that she is an older woman clearly above the age of 30, who isn't sexualized at all, but is distinctly feminine and graceful. So kudos, Wizards, you got that perfect. Thank you. Currently, this is as much as we know about the Silver-Wolfed Walker. I've fallen in love with this character, since she's one of the few who seem to not just be a cookie-cutter fantasy woman. She's a main character in the Shadows over Innistrad story, so soon we'll learn more about her. Speaking of that, next week I'll be recapping the first couple chapters of Shadows over Innistrad, as well as giving my feedback on it. I'm still going to do more Walker spotlights, so comment down below whether you want to see Jace and his fashionable tastes in leather coats, or Nahiri, who loves to throw stones in hedron houses. As always, make sure you tap that subscribe button, float the like, and cast a comment down below. I'm Lantern, and I'll see you next week on Lantern's Insight.